Adobe Firefly is the all-in-one creative studio with AI-powered image and video editing for today's creative process. Built for creators of every kind, Firefly helps you generate, edit, and experiment fast. Because the asks aren't getting smaller, the budgets aren't getting bigger, and the timelines, oh yeah, still tight. With all the best creative AI models in one place, Firefly brings your ideas to life. Unlock a better way to make with Adobe Firefly.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Joining us right now to talk about a very serious issue, though, one that should be on the ballot today, but I don't know if it is the president of the Sergeants Benevolent Association of the NYPD, Vincent Vallelong. Vincent, the greatest anti-poverty program in world history is Law and Order. And yet we've got people running for office in some of these poor districts, places where people are struggling, and all they want to do is bash Israel. I don't really see how that's going to make anyone richer in Harlem and the Bronx.
Well, we're not allowed to invest in any products either. However, they turn around and these people on primary day, meaning the general people in the city, they really need to come out. I mean, this is an extremely important time for voting for the city. Elections have consequences. I mean, we're looking at a number of different races on the state level and the federal level, where socialists are running neck and neck. And listen, even with many moderate incumbents, they're running against moderate incumbents. These individuals are not pro safety. They don't support men and women in law enforcement. And basically all they want is a revolution to destroy our way of life.
Yeah, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the show? I mean, it's not great. I mean, there was a time in New York, especially in the 80s and 90s, where crime was an absolute bipartisan issue. I mean, I spent my teen and preteen years in Far Rockaway, Queens, on a block that was very diverse. We had Haitians, we had Jews, we had Irish, we had Italians, and everyone was obsessed with lowering crime. That's all we ever talked about. Are you going out tonight? Who are you walking with? I mean, there was absolutely no division about this. And now, I wonder if I walk the streets of the Bronx or Harlem and I'd hear some of these people saying, I want to defund the cops. It's not the people, though, is it? It's the politicians. I mean, I can't imagine people want crime.
It is the politicians. And you know what? Everybody you just described, I describe as New Yorkers.
Right. That's right.
And they're all out for the best interest of the city and the best interest of the community. And the politicians divide everybody. I mean, look what we got. We got bail reform. We got 50A. We got protections for criminals. And basically persecutions for the police out of politicians. You know, I mean, you had a former socialist mayor in de Blasio that appointed a judge, that recently sentenced Eric Duran, one of my sergeants, to 9 years in prison for doing his job.
Ridiculous, totally ridiculous. Vincent, this is Fernando Mateo. And first of all, I want to commend you for helping Eric the way, you guys did. You backed him up. And the truth of the matter is Eric should have never been convicted. He should have never been tried. Eric was out there doing his job, trying to save people in that community from fentanyl, from heroin, from all kinds of things. And the fact that he tried to stop a criminal by launching a cooler, his intentions weren't to kill the guy. He didn't say, I'm going to kill the guy with a cooler. If he wanted to kill the guy, he would have pulled out his gun and he would have shot him. As far as I'm concerned, this was an accident. And he should not have gone to trial. He should have not gone to jail. And I would love to have Eric on my show this Sunday between 6 and 7 p.m. Fernando Mateo, no excuses, because people need to hear from him. And if his lawyer wants to come in with him, let him come in with him. But people need to hear Eric's story, because right now he's been judged and he's been convicted by leftist judges, people that have no business being in a court. Judge, am I correct?
No, in fact, we've talked about this before on the show. If this case was before me, if I was the DA, I never would have put the case into the grand jury, period. But I would have dismissed the case, absolutely. And on a conviction, I would have set aside as contrary to the weight of evidence. And I hope on the appeal, if that's going forward, that this is overturned. This is a total miscarriage. And as for the judge,
this goes back to what we're saying here with voting having consequences. We have judges, DAs, and lawmakers, at the city and state level who are systemically jeopardizing public safety all the time. I mean, we had these conversations all while this trial was going on.
No, and I'll tell you what's awful too. Talk about the contempt for law enforcement and our brave women and men of blue. You have a parole board. 43 cop killers have been let out by the parole board. These people get $190,000 a year. One of the members of the parole board I just read, she married a murderer. I mean, what kind of people are the governors of this state, the Democratic governors of this state, putting on the parole board that 43 cop killers are let on parole? And then the legislature wants to do this ridiculous thing, have a mandatory review at 55 based on age, so that every year they can have an annual hearing, every 2 years, an annual hearing, once again, to relitigate the sentence and making the families go through the trauma again. What are your thoughts?
Listen, I mean, I agree with you 100%. There is no accountability on the other end, and every time something happens that's wrongdoing on their part with whatever laws that they pass or whatever judgments that they render, they point to the police and they make the police the scapegoats. And we all know that the economy, the police, the economy all go hand in hand, as do the business people in this city. That's what makes this city run. Not an ideology, not some democratic socialist out there or progressive judge that feels as if that they have to do good by what their society's beliefs are. I mean, we have a rule of law in this country for a reason. It's 250 years it has kept us safe. All of a sudden now they want to rip it all apart. I mean, listen, voting has consequences. If you vote for one side and you think it's the greatest thing in the world or the pie in the sky, you're going to wind up finding out that it really wasn't that, and it was something disgusting you had put in front of you at your table. And by that time, it's too late.
Yeah, I agree with you. After a judge makes a decision to convict a hardworking NYPD sergeant over a guy that had probably been involved in drug dealing and had been arrested numerous times,
Fernando,
it just makes no sense.
He had a rap sheet.
It just makes no. Listen, I don't understand why we are defending criminals. Why we are raising this kid Carmelo Anthony in Texas raised close to $1 million.
Yeah, he stabbed the kid
because he stabbed the kid to death. I mean, it's unbelievable.
How much did Luigi raise?
Yeah, yeah, Mangione.
And it's not just minorities.
He's a cult hero.
And they made him a cultural hero, folk hero.
And it's not just minorities. Like, this is, for people who think like, oh, this is about minorities and people trying to get payback. Luigi Mangione is a rich white kid from the suburbs of Baltimore. And yet he's also, so they're cheering on crime, aren't they, Vincent Vallelong?
Yeah, they send the wrong message to everybody. You put these statements out there, you give people a voice that really should not be on television. You give them press passes to go out there and who aren't really reporters, who are really some of them are mentally ill, and you put these, all of a sudden we've made these people idols, and I don't understand.
Well,
I don't teach my kids that.
Vince, I made a big point of it last week. I told the president, I told many other people. The fact is that Nora case, all those people were paid actors. And maybe they were paid $100,000 between all of them, or $200,000. But they got millions and millions of dollars of advertising because the national media, well, you know what they did? They publicized it around the country.
All right, and this is in Newark. And now that the news media isn't covering the Newark story as much at Delaney Hall, and I know this is out of the jurisdiction of NYPD, but I'm sure you can comment on it. It's no longer getting it's no longer getting much traction. They're not showing up every day and biting the ICE officers and the whole thing because it's not on the news every night.
You know what it is? Papers don't sell. The media doesn't sell if they don't create controversy. And the way they create controversy is by defending criminals, because defending a victim isn't popular anymore. Defending criminals, create headlines. And raising money, criminals raise more money than victims these days.
Last word to you, Vincent Vallelong.
What we're seeing today, especially with some of these handpicked candidates from certain parties, they are enabling individuals to come up. What we just talked about. They're enabling these people, and at the end of the day, what they're doing is they're victimizing the victims over and over again. Is that not what we're not supposed to do? We're supposed to protect the victims of crimes. Listen, as cops, we take a beating every single day. We get up the next day, we go to work. The victims of these crimes are the ones who actually get victimized over and over again. And it's got to stop. People need to look at this when they go to the ballot box and realize that these democratic socialists do not have your best interest in mind. They want to use your money, not theirs, but they want to enrich themselves on what's going on.
Vincent Vallelong, the president of the Sergeants Benevolent Association.